I've been Marvin's secretary for 7 years, and he recently got engaged. The young miss clung to Marvin's arm and pointed at me. Fire her, and we'll get married. Marvin coldly brushed her off. Then let's call off the wedding. How do I explain that I'm really just an ordinary secretary? Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Planning to make a big profit during the wedding preparations, at noon that day. As I passed by the marketing department, I overheard Max gossiping. Have you guys seen the boss's wife yet? A real princess. That one, Secretary Edith, is pretty alright, but compared to this young mistress, she just doesn't have that aristocratic air. I paused mid-step. You can compliment the boss's wife all you want, but why drag me into it? I'm just an ordinary office worker. How could I possibly have aristocratic bearing? Give me 100 million. And I might just conjure up that aristocratic aura on the spot. Oh dear. Poor thing, after all these years with Mr. Marvin. In the end he still plans to marry a young lady from a wealthy family. High society marriages demand proper social matching. After all, don't even mention it, Secretary Edith has had it rough too. Since the engagement news broke, she looks like she's aged 10 years. If I was just speechless before, now my head was full of question marks. Marvin getting married, what does that have to do with me? Why should I be haggard? Even if I were haggard, it would be from overtime work. I quickly returned to the office, drank a bottle of collagen peptides to calm my nerves, and then knocked on Marvin's door with the personnel file in hand. Come in. The man's voice was as deep and sensual as ever. I pushed the door open and entered, reporting the afternoon meeting schedule and materials before handing the folder to him. This is the promotion list drafted by HR. I've reviewed it. The marketing department hasn't met their targets this year, so I don't recommend promotions. After 2 quarters of marketing expenses with little impact, converting the interns to full-time is about all we should do. Marvin gave a hum. Max hasn't pulled off any major PR stunts. I stood beside the man, watching his slender fingers write a bold signature, and smiled faintly. Max, the one who gossips in the marketing department, dared to spread rumors that Marvin and I were having an affair, and that I was some pitiful secret lover. Am I, Edith, the kind of long-suffering tragic heroine from those melodramas? Joke, I'm not even in a romance novel to begin with. I'm the secretary in a workplace drama who can intercept information and influence top-level decisions with just a few words. Max, don't even think about getting promoted this year, with that kind of money. I'd rather give the ladies in the company some extra menstrual product allowance. After finishing work, Marvin asked me, what's for lunch? The company has a cafeteria. Marvin rarely goes there. He's the boss. It'd be awkward squeezing into the cafeteria with the employees. When busy, I bring food for him. When not, we go out to eat together. There's a new Italian restaurant opened at the Impression City Mall, and the reviews are pretty good. Marvin nodded and picked up his suit jacket from the back of the chair. I accompanied him downstairs. It was lunch break, and the elevator stopped at every floor. The crowd surged, pressing me tightly against Marvin, and I caught a faint whiff of his cologne. It was the Silver Mountain water I'd chosen for him. I turned my face away, feeling slightly uneasy. To be close enough to smell his cologne, that was too intimate. When we reached the 5th floor, a large group of programmers surged in. Laughing and jostling their way inside, I was shoved off balance and stumbled straight into Marvin's arms. A warm, large hand cradled the back of my head, creating a small space where I could catch my breath. A deep, magnetic voice sounded above me. It's overloaded. Wait for the next one. The programmers sheepishly retreated. I quickly pushed him away. The elevator was dead silent, with only the awkward sound of me smoothing my hair. Of all people, Max was also in the elevator, giving us an ambiguous look. Mr. Marvin, Secretary Edith, going out for lunch, Marvin replied flatly. The elevator grew even quieter. A strange smile simultaneously appeared on everyone's faces. Wait, that's not how it was. Let me explain. I attended Marvin's alma mater. I called him senior and we worked on projects together. He gets good grades, and following him can earn you national awards. After graduation, joining his company follows the same logic. I know the senior is a strong player. When the company goes public, I might get some original shares. Our relationship is just that simple and dull, reeking of the stench of capitalism, has absolutely nothing to do with romance novels. The restaurant echoed with melodious violin music as I browsed the menu. Marvin resting his chin on his hand while watching me, dressed in a custom-tailored black suit with handsome features that drew sideways glances from several nearby tables. To be fair, his face could represent most romance novels. And he doesn't have the obnoxious flaws of those overbearing CEOs in most romance novels either. For instance, he's easy to please. He never complains about what I order. He eats whatever's served without picking or choosing. The waiter came over to introduce, "It's Thursday today. We have a couple's set meal that comes with a complimentary dessert. Would you two be interested?" I glanced at it. Seems like a good deal. The baked lobster in the set alone costs nearly as much when ordered separately. Then we'll take one. Marvin tapped on the table. "Very well, sir." The waiter took the menu from my fingertips and placed a rose in the vase before me. It suddenly occurred to me that he was engaged. "Mr. Marvin. This really isn't appropriate." He lifted his eyelids to glance at me. "Why not? Didn't you say it was a good deal? I'm no fool to order lobster thermidor just for you." My face flushed crimson. Damn. He noticed I was here just to mooch the baked lobster. After whining and dining, Marvin went to pay the bill. I was just figuring out where to get coffee when a shadow loomed over me. It was Gazelle, decked out in designer clothes, Marvin's fiancée. "How can you be here? Can you even afford this?" The young lady's face twisted in disbelief, embarrassed. "I truly couldn't afford it. That's why I only tag along for the boss's working lunches on weekdays. Why is it still a couple's set meal?" The young lady nearly exploded, her sharp eyes spotting the man paying the bill. It wasn't me. He ordered it. You'd better give me an explanation." Gazelle scattered all the roses I gave her. "How am I supposed to explain this? Should I explain how I used my position to arrange meals for my boss, resulting in us eating our way through the entire city's culinary scene over nearly 7 years? I'd end up in jail. Though I was panicking inside, I was still a secretary who had weathered many storms. I put on a professional smile. "The boss wanted to invite you to dinner but was worried this place might not match your standards, so I accompanied him here first to check it out." Gazelle choked up. "Is that so?" I pointed at the table full of dishes. "Then why specifically a couple's set meal?" Gazelle was stumped by my question. After pondering for a while, she shot me a glare. "Consider yourself lucky. Don't let me catch you dining with my husband again, or you can kiss your job goodbye." I shivered. Don't say no to Marvin for dinner. Even if I could only eat 2 meals a day, I must keep my job. After being reprimanded by Gazelle, I felt a professional crisis. As a female secretary, one must maintain an appropriate distance from a male boss. I believe I've maintained that sense of distance very well, for all these years. I haven't harbored the slightest improper thought towards Marvin. I haven't even touched his hand, the kind where if I accidentally touched him, I'd immediately stand up straight and apologize. But the boss's wife said I didn't do it right, so I definitely need to make some proper adjustments. At noon, I stopped having lunch with Marvin. I ordered takeout for him every day. After a week of ordering, Marvin said to me meaningfully after a meeting, "I don't want to eat takeout anymore." Got it. For the next week, I scheduled all his social engagements at noon. Marvin won't have to eat takeout anymore. He spent every day drinking with the old man. Within 2 days, he messaged me on iMessage, "Marvin, I don't want to drink with old men anymore." What a coincidence, isn't it? Gazelle was also messaging me on iMessage. God knows why a young lady like her would have iMessage. Every day when I come to work, I see her finding new ways to ding me. Why hasn't Marvin gone on a date with her yet? Is it because I, the villainess, have been controlling his schedule, so now even your dates fall under my jurisdiction? Fine then, I scheduled the date into Marvin's itinerary for today, at that Italian restaurant from last time, pre-ordered the couple's set menu, and even arranged a bottle of red wine for them. After CCing Marvin, read but no reply for a long while, nearly off work, Marvin finally returned the date to me marked in red. "Marvin, Edith, yes, you have an appointment this evening." Marvin, "The same restaurant as last time." Edith, "Yes, at 6 o'clock. Marvin replied to me with okay. After work in the evening, watching from the 19th floor office as Marvin in his suit and tie got into a Bentley, I quietly retreated into the shadows. Marvin was drinking with a pretty young girl. Gazelle went on a date with her fiancé. My job was safe. I got on the subway, imagining Marvin and Gazelle dressed to the nines, eating a couple's set meal with French red wine in an Italian restaurant. And for some reason, I felt a little annoyed. TSK, this damned capitalism. That evening, Marvin talked to me. "Marvin, come work overtime." Edith, that's not appropriate, boss. It's already 9 p.m. Marvin showed me with concrete actions that labor laws don't apply to him. He literally kicked my door down. When I first heard there was a subsidy for renting in the same complex as him, I jumped at the chance to live next door without a second thought. Clearly, I must have been out of my mind. As soon as I opened the door, Marvin strode into my place with practiced ease and settled ominously onto the sofa. "Let's have a quick meeting." I resignedly opened my laptop. "My schedule has been a complete mess lately," Marvin said, his striking peach blossom eyes smoldering with irritation. "Especially when it comes to meals. Let me know if there's anything that needs improvement." Marvin gave a cold smile. "What do you think?" I observed carefully. His handsome face twitched at the left eyelid. It's really blowing up. I closed my laptop and knelt down gently. If you're referring to tonight's appointment, the boss's wife has been pestering me on iMessage these past few days. Giselle, why would she have your iMessage? As expected, that's everyone's first reaction. I want to know too. Marvin calmed his anger. She's not the boss's wife. If you keep mixing personal matters into work again, you won't need to work here anymore. I was thunderstruck. I've worked at this company for 7 full years. From being a clueless secretary assistant to reaching my current position, I've stood by him through his journey from being a parachuted young master to today's undisputed decision maker. Even if there's no merit, there's been hard work. He actually wants to fire me because of his fiancée. Doesn't he know Giselle is such a shrew? She's been yapping at me like a chihuahua since the very first time we met. If I get laid off, how will I find a job as an older, unmarried woman? My nose tingled with emotion as I pulled out a tissue. Marvin looked slightly more relaxed. Don't let it happen again. He pulled out a takeout box and placed it on the table, tilting his chin wearily. Eat. It was the baked lobster from that Italian restaurant. I swallowed hard and shook my head. I haven't been looking well lately, so I can't eat a late-night snack. Marvin's eyes instantly filled with murderous intent. I had no choice but to eat the entire baked lobster, tears in my eyes. The tricks capitalists use to make people work overtime are getting more and more creative. After the morning meeting the next day, Marvin asked me to stay. You'll be in charge of planning this wedding. I was stunned, but his gaze was not joking. I awkwardly tugged at the corner of my mouth. Isn't this inappropriate? After all, this is your personal matter. Boss, the wedding will be a grand affair. And there will definitely be public relations involved. Marvin calmly pushed up his gold-rimmed glasses, forcefully turning a private matter into a public one. What if the bride has an objection? I'll cover the expenses. Marvin turned his pitch-black eyes toward me. You make the decisions. I wanted to refuse. But after opening my mouth, I couldn't find the right words. After all, the scope of authority for a secretary's position is indeed quite ambiguous. Personal assistant duties are included as well. Marvin may not quite fit the description of my delicate and helpless CEO, but look, even deciding where to eat falls on me. When his house was being renovated, he was too busy launching a new product line, so I was the one who found the designer and supervised the work. But marriage, after all, isn't like other matters. I feel an indescribable heaviness in my heart. What kind of mess is this? I haven't even been in a relationship yet. And I'm already organizing a wedding for Marvin and a chihuahua. I was busy running around, and the chihuahua was getting married in a pure white wedding dress, making a grand spectacle. People are still spreading rumors that I'm Marvin's underground lover of 7 years. To pull off this stunt, my character would have to become incredibly long-suffering. Marvin, you're not doing a single human-like thing. I was full of reluctance. But who told me I'm just an employee? Unwillingly, I opened a new document. What's the estimated timeline and budget? Figure out the timeline yourself. The budget is 30 million. My typing fingers froze. I suspected there was something wrong with my ears. How much? Marvin, sitting in his boss's chair, said lightly. 30 million. I leaped up from my seat, took 2 steps, trembling as I picked up the teacup to sip some water and mask my excitement, then returned to the sofa to sit down properly. 30 million. I'll take full responsibility. I've never handled such a massive project before. Weddings involve so many intricate steps and countless details. With all these rounds of bidding, how much kickback can I pocket? Edith, your best days are yet to come. Marry. We'll arrange it as soon as possible. The sooner the better. My fingers flew across the keyboard as I drafted the project proposal at lightning speed. Mr. Marvin, I guarantee you a grand wedding. I was thrown out of the office by Marvin. As I left, he even viciously hurled a get out at me. It doesn't matter. He is now the closest person to me in this world. He's my biological father. So what if he wants to marry Giselle? I, Edith, am willing to acknowledge this, Mom. Hey. What messy love triangle. What battlefield of emotions. None of that exists. The 3 of us are just one happy family. Just as I was typing away furiously on my wedding plan in the office, my phone rang. Giselle called me. Get out here. Hey, Mom. Okay, I'm on my way. Giselle asked to meet me at a cafe 2 blocks away. I walked in and was immediately met with icy daggers in her gaze. The young mistress crossed her arms, looking as if she wanted to devour me whole. Hello. What's the matter? I cautiously pulled out a chair and sat down across from her. Giselle slammed her phone onto the table with a loud thud. Marvin told me yesterday he won't marry me. Explain to me, what the hell does that mean? Everyone in the cafe was staring at us. I was instantly stumped by her question. Marvin won't marry you. Shouldn't you be asking him that? What's it got to do with me? How am I supposed to explain this? She grabbed my chin and yanked me right up to her face. Was it you whispering in his ear? Playing nice to set us up on dates while actually forcing him to break up with me. I'm not someone without a temper, but her manicured nails were ruler long. I quickly reassured her, nothing of the sort. Just this morning he told me he'd spend 30 million to marry you. 30 million. Sis, you're my one and only sister. Gazelle was stunned. I swiftly extracted my face from the situation and retreated far away. Gazelle snapped back to reality. Seriously? You're not pulling my leg again, are you? Would I ever? I showed her the proposal I just drafted. The wedding preparations are already in motion, everything's set. He can't wait to marry you sooner, and I'm genuinely looking forward to that day myself. Gazelle warily narrowed her eyes. You wouldn't try to swallow my dowry, covet my family's assets, and then kick me out, would you? Read less romance novels, I advised. Gazelle snorted, sizing me up with disdain as calculation flickered in her eyes. Fine, if that's the case, accompany me shopping for wedding supplies then. She stood up, her body-hugging dress accentuating her delicate curves, clutching her platinum Birkin bag as she waited for me with an imposing air. What a treacherous banquet this is. Gazelle took me to Hermes. The staff ushered her into the VIP room the moment they saw her. She snapped her fingers. I want to order wedding jewelry. The clerk held the product catalogue, presenting it to her with utmost reverence. Secretary Edith, have a seat. Gazelle removed her sunglasses and patted the spot beside her with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I sat down with a guilty conscience. For us 1688 girls, walking into Hermes truly requires courage. Gazelle spread the art album across my knees, flipping through the pages one by one as she commented, "Which one does Secretary Edith think is good?" I sincerely praised. "They're all quite nice. Look more carefully," Gazelle mocked. "After all, Secretary Edith, not only can you not afford to buy them, you don't even have the chance to see them." I didn't like hearing that. "I can just Baidu it," Gazelle choked up. "Just Baidu it, you'll find everything, including the Hermes official website. Other kind-hearted wealthy folks even share their finds on TikTok and RedNote for us." Gazelle shot me a furious glare. "What are you looking at me for? In this information age, don't you know your working-class granny has broad horizons?" We were engaged in a war of words when the salesperson seized the moment to interject. "This is the new limited edition for this year. The diamonds are dazzling." Gazelle and I shut our mouths, heads pressed together. We stared at the illustration of the full diamond set that could stretch from neck to navel, our eyes gleaming. "How much?" 10,068,000 after discount. The light in my eyes went out. Gazelle didn't. Gazelle tapped the catalogue with her inch-long manicured nails. "Do you have the actual item? Only a matching bracelet is available. Bring it for me to try." Gazelle put on the bracelet worth over $1 million, admiring herself in the mirror under the spotlight before casting a smug glance my way. I lost so completely. Damn, that diamond was blinding. I feel like some of the beautiful virtues in my life have been destroyed. In the brilliance of the diamonds, I felt my own powerlessness and insignificance. Perhaps the look of regret and humiliation on my face was too obvious. Gazelle grew even more smug, casually pointing at a pair of bling-bling high heels. "Let me try these on." The shop assistant held the shoes, ready to kneel and put them on for her. Gazelle collapsed onto the sofa, crossing her legs. "No need, I want her to do it." She raised an eyebrow, looking at me with a malicious glint in her eyes. "Secretary Edith, are you okay, young miss? Are you addicted to insulting me? Do I look like a masochist to you?" I turned on my computer and started drafting an Excel budget sheet on the spot. "Put it back. We're not buying these shoes." Gazelle never expected I'd refuse. "What did you say? You spent 10 million on a necklace, so my budget's tight now. We should save where we can on shoes, they'll be hidden under the dress anyway." Gazelle was utterly confused. "What are you talking about?" With a perfectly straight face, I spun my tale. "The 30 million isn't just for you to spend. There's also the wedding banquet, venue, decorations, outfits, flowers, alcohol, transportation and accommodation for the guests, and given your status, a big chunk will go to PR. So you see, the budget is actually quite tight. I can't approve these shoes for you." Gazelle suddenly stood up. "Why do I need your approval to buy my wedding shoes?" I shrugged. "Because I'm in charge of planning the wedding now." Gazelle was so furious she immediately grabbed her Hermes bag to throw at me. "All money goes through me." I roared. "Every last cent comes through me. Smashing necklaces won't help anymore." Gazelle still retained a shred of reason and ceased her assault. Her face was a canvas of regret, humiliation, resentment, and unwillingness. I grinned with delight. "Beg me, Tilda." Gazelle threw down the words, "Just you wait, I'm telling Marvin," and stormed off with her bag in a huff. I sipped the tea the clerk handed me and tried on her shoes. They really were quite nice. Maybe someday I'll scrape together some money from her wedding and buy a pair for myself. As I stepped out of the store, I got a call from Marvin. Where are you? It's this damn man who made me endure everything. Just hearing his voice pisses me off, and I don't even want to acknowledge him. You weren't at the office this afternoon. His voice dropped 8 degrees colder. No leave request, no clock in. I suddenly remembered this damn man is my boss. I went out to shop for wedding attire. A champagne-colored Bentley soon appeared in the traffic flow. I took the passenger seat, studying his expression. His expression was as usual. It seems Gazelle doesn't perform her wild dance in front of him like she does with me. Marvin gazed over and asked, "What did you buy?" "Jewelry." He was slightly surprised. "What jewelry?" "A set of Hermes diamonds. 68 million. 10. Marvin was utterly shocked. But after all, a domineering CEO is still a domineering CEO. If nothing else, he has money. Leaning against the car window, he swallowed the rest of his words. "If you like it, just buy it." I silently picked at the pills on my trench coat. The world of the wealthy is different from ours. "What should we eat tonight?" "I won't eat." "What's there to eat?" I'm full of anger. "You two-timing bastards. You spent 10 million in an afternoon and you're still sulking." He teased. "It's not like he bought it for me. That bitch wife of yours still expects me to kneel and put her shoes on for her." 1,000 words were contained in that murderous glare. Marvin turned his head to start driving. "There's a business dinner the day after tomorrow. I've sent you the guest list. Look through it later to see what social obligations we have. Then go to my place and take stock of the gifts." I slumped back into the seat. The young lady buys a necklace. I'm working overtime. This world is truly unfair. I collapsed from Marvin's car onto his sofa, watching him tinker with the tomato and beef stew in the kitchen. I ate 2 bowls. Dealing with his wife is my work-related injury. Feeling somewhat revived after eating, I went to rummage for gifts in the basement storage room. I've been with him for 7 years, and I know that in the business world, many things aren't accomplished by surface-level rules. Mostly, they rely on personal connections. Personal connections involve constant giving and receiving. When others give gifts to Marvin, I need to figure out whether they can be accepted. Those that can be accepted are categorized by their value. Then when it's time to give gifts, you look at who the recipient is and what you're asking them to do, and give accordingly. I was rummaging through the drawer in my slippers when Marvin leaned against the doorframe watching me. Suddenly 2 round bottles caught my eye. "Who gave you these?" Rummaging through a single man's storage room and finding black and white bandages, I genuinely couldn't hold it together anymore. "Forgot about them." Marvin coughed twice into his fist. "Take them. Your face has been looking as dark as Judge Bao lately." Not a single word from this bastard was pleasant to hear. Only the 3 words "take them" were barely tolerable. "Why do people keep sending you makeup?" "I don't get it." Every year, I'd find foundations, lipsticks, cleansing oils, even La Mer from him. Whatever he couldn't use ended up with me. Marvin turned on a dime, his face darkening as he ground out through clenched teeth. "What do you think?" I thought about it. "Do they want to see you cross-dress?" Marvin was stunned. He then sneered coldly. "Edith, I'm really afraid one day I won't be able to resist strangling you to death." "Whatever, death would be fine. I'm not living happily anyway." What a day this has been. Just as we were in the storage room discussing the gift, the doorbell rang. From the doorbell came Gazelle's soft voice. "Marvin, I've brought you some freshly baked cupcakes, Tilda." The moment I heard that voice, goosebumps prickled all over me. Who would have thought Gazelle had 2 faces? Pointing upstairs, then to the storage room, I whispered to Marvin, "You go first. I'll hide here for a bit." "What? Since when did you take a liking to being a thief?" I quickly covered his mouth. It wouldn't look good if she saw me. I couldn't clear my name even if I jumped into the Yellow River. "What can't be washed clean?" Marvin, his pitch-black pupils turned toward me, his voice dropping to a deep, magnetic tone. It sounded more alluring than a late-night radio host. My sensitive palm was grazed by his breath, damp and ticklish. I abruptly stood at attention with my hands clasped behind my back, swallowing hard. "It's just, that thing." "I don't know," Marvin lied through his teeth. "Aren't you here to pick a gift?" "What are you afraid of?" He licked his lips. "Or is it, you have some improper thoughts about me and feel guilty?" I quickly covered his mouth again to shut him up. I had needle and thread at hand, so I sewed it up. "Bro, you really didn't hear your wife calling you upstairs for cake?" Marvin gave me an amused glare, shook off my hand, tossed out a come up, and turned to open the door. I stayed curled up in my spot without moving, because I'm not stupid. I don't want to have Gazelle battle me again. 1 fight a day is enough. 2 fights a day would shorten my lifespan. I had a good plan, hiding in the basement until they finished talking. Unfortunately, Gazelle wasn't stupid either. Marvin had barely opened the door when Gazelle charged in. "Marvin, why'd you take so long to answer? Got company in there or something?" The sound of door-to-door room inspections echoed from upstairs. "What do you want?" Marvin clearly wasn't pleased. He's a very territorial person. Quite solitary by nature, usually not allowing anyone into his home, even the cleaning lady has to come when he's at work. Now Gazelle is darting around, her tone dripping with impatience. I told you, I came to bring you cake. There's a new cake shop at Yintai Plaza that's really good. I waited in a crazy long line to bring you some to try. If you've delivered it, then go back. What are you searching for? It's like a Japanese soldier raiding a village. I heard footsteps coming down the stairs and panicked, frantically searching for a place to hide, but the basement was a grand tea room with a 4-5 meter high ceiling. There was nowhere to hide. From above, everything was in plain sight. Gazelle, as soon as she reached the bottom of the stairs, caught me red-handed. Edith, you wretched bitch. Marvin, why is she here? Marvin slightly pursed his lips. What did you just call her? Say it again. Gazelle took 2 steps back, barking fiercely yet timidly. Marvin, why is Edith here? Seeing the two of them arguing, I sidestepped behind them while holding bottles of black and white bandages. Excuse me, actually, I'm just here to work overtime. Gazelle leaned halfway out. Since when does overtime require coming to your boss's house? Have you no shame? And overtime, what are you holding in your hands? Don't think I don't know. I also think holding these black and white bandages looks rather ridiculous, but I couldn't find a plastic bag downstairs earlier. I quickly hid them behind my back and came up with a perfect excuse. Don't get the wrong idea. These were a gift from my boyfriend. You actually have a boyfriend. Marvin cursed in English angrily. You're her boyfriend, aren't you? Gazelle screamed like a boiling kettle. Me, what kind of hellish scene is this? Marvin, get this bitch out of here right now. I don't want to see her face anymore. Gazelle went berserk and rushed forward to slap me. Watch your mouth. Marvin stepped in front of me. She worked hard to decorate this house. She can come and go as she pleases, do whatever she wants. Who do you think you are, barging into my home in the middle of the night and spewing nonsense at her? Who am I? Who am I? Gazelle's eyes instantly reddened. I'm your fiancé. Marvin scoffed. Do I admit it? Gazelle said in disbelief. You're disowning me for some wild woman. Marvin's veins throbbed on his forehead, but he forced a smile. You just can't learn to address people properly. Can you? Fine. He rolled up his sleeves and opened the wall cabinet beside him. I knew he was truly angry, so I quickly slipped away. Why don't you two argue first? I have something to do at home. But the thing he picked up next made my legs turn to jelly. He pulled out a riding crop. Gazelle. He smiled and pushed up his glasses, speaking very gently. I've always treated you like a sister since we were little, but I've liked you since we were kids. Do you think you can just interrupt your elders whenever you please? Marvin cracked the horsewhip against the cabinet, advancing toward her step by step. No manners, no problem. Big brother will teach you today how to speak properly to people. Marvin removed his glasses as he spoke, raising the horsewhip. Only 2 words flashed through my mind. Damn, holy shit. Gazelle was also terrified. This pampered young lady had never seen such a scene before. She screamed and ran toward me. Help me. I gritted my teeth and pulled her behind me. Mr. Marvin, this is domestic violence. Marvin was dead set on breaking the law. Gazelle, you come out here right now. I'll whip your mouth to shreds today. Secretary Edith. Look, he hit me. Gazelle clung to me wailing like a banshee. So you do know how to address people properly, Marvin said coldly as he loosened his tie. Then let's settle all accounts today, better than having this drama day after day. The two of them started circling around me like the Emperor of Qin circling a pillar. What was I supposed to do? I could only try to persuade. Why are you hitting the child in the middle of the night? Let it go, let it go. It's all because you spoiled her. Marvin looked like he really wanted to give her a beating. Domestic violence is illegal. Gazelle cried behind me, her makeup running. Domestic violence only happens once and then countless times. Marvin laughed in anger. Right. So you'd better be sensible and call off the wedding. I won't. Gazelle's mouth was harder than iron, and with that, she ran off. Marvin was fuming with rage. He grabbed his horsewhip and gave chase. She ran, he pursued, and seeing she couldn't escape even with wings, I pounced from behind and wrapped my arms around Marvin's waist. Enough, enough. It wouldn't be good to hurt the child. Marvin froze. She quieted down in my arms. As Gazelle ran to the front door, Marvin snapped coldly. Put the cake down. Gazelle wailed as she placed the cake on the entryway table, shouting just you wait. Marvin before slamming the door behind her. The massive villa echoed with the sound of the slamming door. Marvin made no further moves. After a long while, I finally let out a sigh of relief. That was close. I had steeled myself to fight Gazelle all over again. Never expected Marvin to just charge in and initiate the team fight. Completely crushed Gazelle's dog head. This is way too savage. The fierce man in my arms transitioned from fury to calm, his large hand landing on my head with a tender rub. Don't be angry. No one gets to say that about you. He lowered his gaze, his expression softening. Oh, originally, Gazelle was barking furiously at me, and I felt really upset about it. Stifled and angry, an indescribable discomfort. But Marvin could wield his tools to uphold justice, so I didn't have time to dwell on grievances. It was also somewhat amusing. The corner of my mouth lifted just as I met his dark, fathomless gaze. That handsome face looked at me teasingly, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. Was it good? Marvin turned and leaned against the bar counter, pulling my hand to bring me into his embrace. Am I that good to hold? You won't even let go. I quickly let go and stood up straight, shaking my head like a rattledrum. Sorry, I won't dare do it again. Marvin raised an eyebrow in confusion. It's been almost 10 years since I've known you. Who would have thought you'd still hit people? My smile looked more painful than tears. Marvin said calmly, I don't hit my wife. He grabbed Gazelle's cake and stuffed it into my mouth in one bite, his dark eyes fixed on me. I treat my wife exceptionally well, lying in bed. My heart still felt weightless, thinking of Marvin's words. I treat my wife exceptionally well, recalling the look in his eyes when he said it, as if directed at me. Lost in wild thoughts, my phone screen lit up. It was my mom who sent me a message, asking for my brother's medicine money. I remembered today was the 5th, so I transferred $32.80 over. My mom received the money. There was no further response. I scrolled through the chat history between me and my mom, just a few conversations, mostly money transfers. The sudden reality turned all those beautiful thoughts into fleeting bubbles. It felt like a bucket of cold water being poured over my head. Snapping me back to reality, resting my head on my arm, I recalled how Marvin never once said he liked me. Whenever he saw me, he'd always furrow his brows, looking utterly disgusted. His words were dripping with sarcasm too. And he'd always make me work overtime until the world went dark. There wasn't a shred of affection between us. It's all about money. Besides, we've known each other for so many years. If he had any intentions toward me, wouldn't he have acted on them by now? Clearly, it's not me. A rich second-generation heir like him. If there's no Gazelle, there'll always be another one waiting to marry him. The domineering CEO gets paired with the rich and beautiful girl. We ordinary folks can just sit back and enjoy the show. There's no role for us in this drama. All that belongs to us is poverty. I turned over, closed my eyes, and went to sleep. I'll continue going to work as usual. Gazelle still messages me on iMessage. After being beaten up, she became aloof. Every day she only sends one message when online. Is Marvin here today? Me, here. The conversation ends there. Same routine tomorrow. No other movement either. Perhaps because she didn't dare to cause trouble in front of Marvin, MS. Gazelle chose to stir up trouble from afar. She splurged millions to buy a trending topic, announcing her marriage news with Marvin. Max finally got a PR incident to handle, rubbing his hands in anticipation as he left Marvin's office and came over to visit me. Secretary Edith. What's up, Mr. Marvin wants us to issue a PR statement denying the marriage rumors with MS. Gazelle. Max wiggled his eyebrows suggestively. Why is this guy so obsessed with gossip, like a Melonfield weasel? I know, he mentioned that. Max sat down by himself, crossing his arms and resting his chin on his hands. He also said he has a girlfriend of 7 years, and they're deeply in love. This, I hadn't heard about before. That's too fake, probably made up, I said matter-of-factly. Really? Max wiggled his eyebrows lewdly again. I sighed. Stop looking at me. It's definitely not me. If I were the boss's wife, why would I bother coming to work when I could be doing anything else? I don't think it's anyone else either. If he had a girlfriend of 7 years, that would trace back to our college days. There's no way I wouldn't know. He's just making it up on the spot, forcing the narrative that he has a wife when he actually doesn't. Max looked at something behind me with awe. I swallowed hard and turned around, directly facing Marvin's murderous glare. I silently turned my head back, pretending to work on documents. All explanations are meaningless when caught red-handed by the boss. Marvin said nothing, walking into the CEO's office with oppressive silence before slamming the door shut. He never discusses dinner plans with me. He doesn't even brief me about work. I had to take the initiative to poke him and ask about tomorrow's work schedule. He said he's going out of town for a meeting. I said okay, but he didn't reply. What a petty heart. All I said was that his wifeless, that Schrodinger's wife of his seems to have incorporated some of my life experiences, and I didn't even charge him copyright fees. I pulled up the chat page. Today's message is so short. Marvin Day 1 of being gone. Gazelle pings me on iMessage as usual. You there? We've already developed a perfect understanding between us. She never types complete sentences, just sends a simple you there. Looking at our chat history alone, you'd never guess she's a wealthy, beautiful woman who sees me as her romantic rival. She looked more like a persistent, thirsty flirt. I glanced at the closed CEO's office. Not there. This was the message I regretted sending the most. Because soon, Giselle stormed into the company. She was dressed all in black today, her eyebrows were arched, and her lips were as red as if she'd eaten a dead child. One look at her makeup told you, this woman had turned to the dark side. Sure enough, she kicked open my office door right away. Secretary Edith, you're fired. Our entire floor is divided by transparent glass meeting rooms. Her sudden shout made all colleagues put down their laptops and turn to look at me with shining eyes. Max, that bastard, even took out his phone to start recording, babbling away to who knows who during his live stream. I had a headache. MS, Giselle, who do you think you are, firing me just like that? I'm your boss's wife. Giselle grabbed my hand and dragged me out of the office. Marvin doesn't need you anymore. Get out of here right now. Whether Mr. Marvin needs me or not is beside the point. Termination must follow basic labor laws. Our dismissal process takes 2 months to give employees adequate preparation time and severance compensation. Here's 10 million, leave him now. Immediately, this instant, Giselle tossed a black card at my feet with domineering flair. I shamefully felt a twinge of temptation, but with my current salary plus housing fund, $1 million can only buy out less than 20 years of my life. Considering I might never find a better job than this, the minimum should be $17,620,000. I mentally calculated my lowest offer. You think this amount can buy me off? Edith, you're really pushing your luck. Oh, I get it, he's offering you more, isn't he? Not that much more, but it's steadier. I was about to negotiate further when Giselle lunged at me. I dodged faster than a startled dog. When she couldn't reach me, she went berserk and smashed everything on my desk onto the floor. My colleagues finally stopped watching the drama and rushed out to shield me, confronting Giselle. How dare you hit someone? She stole my husband. What's wrong with me hitting her? Should I pick a special day to beat her? I'm being merciful by not tearing her face apart. Giselle pointed at my nose and shouted righteously, Edith, have you no shame? You knew he was getting married yet still clung to him. For a few bucks, you'd destroy someone's family. How despicable can you be? I can endure any humiliation to make a living, but when she insulted my work, she crossed the line. I pushed aside Max, who was shielding me. MS, Giselle, if your husband can't have a female secretary after marriage, then take him home and chain him up, because even without a female secretary, he'll still have female subordinates and female business partners during work. Wouldn't that make you scream and faint? Ha, are you the same as them? Giselle sneered. They wouldn't cling to him demanding this and that, wouldn't reach into his wallet, and certainly wouldn't stay overnight at his place late at night. Trembling with rage, I clenched my fists under the astonished gazes of everyone, my nails digging deep into my palms. As a secretary, I do frequently go to his house to deliver materials and handle funds for administrative projects. That's well within my job responsibilities. I heard my voice trembling. If the boss gave me extra compensation during this process, it was because he deemed it deserved. Where are the security guards? How dare you lay hands on me? Giselle looked utterly incredulous as the security guards restrained her. Company access follows strict regulations. Don't let irrelevant outsiders in. But the guard stole a glance at Giselle. The company is a workplace, not for family members, only employees. Do I make myself clear? The security captain stood at attention. Understood. Giselle writhed indignantly. Don't you go waving a chicken feather as if it were a commander's flag. Legal team. I cut off her tirade. Over here. Over here. Levi raised his hand. MS. Giselle came to the company to make trouble and broke a lot of things. Levi clattered away at his notebook. She definitely has to pay for this, not just for damaging company property, but also for disrupting our normal operations. File a lawsuit, I said coldly. Do you have any sense of justice? Is this how your company protects homewreckers? Giselle suddenly broke free from the security guards and raised her hand high toward me. Her wrist was abruptly seized by someone. The man behind her wore a black suit and white shirt. His hair slightly disheveled from running. The moment he appeared at the center of the chaos, his commanding presence quelled all disorder. Just as always, my nose inexplicably tingled with a hint of sourness. Levi, add another charge to the indictment: defamation and slander against Secretary Edith, publicly spreading false rumors. Marvin's voice carried more authority than ever before. Levi froze for a moment. Boss, that would require Secretary Edith to file the lawsuit herself. We don't handle employees' reputation rights. We handle it now. Marvin looked at me over the crowd. The look in his eyes held too many emotions. Giselle's eyes reddened. I'm clearly your fiancé, yet you only know how to protect another woman. Ha! Marvin shook off her hand and sneered. My engagement ceremony, neither was I informed nor invited. I only found out from Max's social media. With that, do you even deserve to be called a fiancé? the crowd erupted in a buzz. I don't know how it all ended. When I came to my senses, I was already sitting in Marvin's office. My chest ached unbearably, and tears kept streaming down my face. Marvin sat beside me, holding a tissue box, handing me one sheet after another. Don't be angry anymore, don't be angry. He pushed a cup of hot chocolate toward me. I shook my head. I'm not, I know. I work hard every day. My promotions and raises, they all came from overtime work. Woo-woo, yes. You're more diligent and responsible than anyone else, but now everyone thinks I slept my way to the top. I sobbed uncontrollably. They think, I'm just your mistress. That's not true. I was pulled into a warm embrace. People see things clearly. They know exactly what you've accomplished and how much work you've put in. Everyone has their own measure of fairness. Really, a soft chuckle vibrated from the chest I leaned against. Besides, you're not a mistress. Perhaps it was being enveloped by my favorite woody perfume, or maybe it was the gentle comfort I received, but my emotions gradually settled. About 10 minutes later, when I fully emerged from my tearful daze, I suddenly realized, wait a minute, why was I clinging tightly to Marvin? I quickly pushed him away. Giselle just came to make a scene. My reputation is hanging by a thread. I just swore to heaven that my secretary Edith was completely innocent, and now I'm caught embracing Marvin. I have no relationship with her. Marvin stared at me with burning intensity. I have no relationship with you either. A lone man and woman should still be careful. I turned to leave, my fingertips brushing the doorknob. I don't want to get involved in your personal matters again. Marvin's hand reached past my shoulder, slamming the door shut with a bang. I'm sorry. His breath was warm, sending a slight shiver through me. Did she give you trouble many times without me knowing? I apologize. It won't happen again. Isn't getting into trouble part of being a secretary? I retorted petulantly. The company's cash flow had issues, her family was wealthy, and her parents arranged the engagement without my consent. I didn't go. I froze. She turned to look at him. Marvin had red-rimmed eyes and disheveled bangs, looking somewhat fragile. I never thought Mr. Marvin you were practically forced into this. He lowered his eyes meekly, looking vulnerable and easy to bully. You should have said so earlier. I'd been treating Giselle like some kind of ancestor. You didn't ask. I flinched as if scalded. Everyone knows, except you. He raised his eyes, filled with accusation. You never cared about me. After I got back, I opened Max's social media feed. Marvin's wedding news. I saw it here too. Grand, dreamlike. I glanced at it. My heart skipped a beat, and I quickly swiped away. None of my business. What does it have to do with me? Don't even want to look at it. But now, I can calmly face the flood of congratulations on the screen, and amidst that sea of congratulations, one furious reply stands out. Marvin, how did you get in? I didn't even make it. Max, seriously, Mr. Marvin, fake, feudal arranged marriage, must resist. Thus blessings turned into a series of resistances. I covered my face and chuckled softly. As expected, everyone knew, except for me. At some point, I began deliberately avoiding Marvin's personal affairs. We commute to and from work together every day, yet we remain worlds apart. I know this young, handsome billionaire CEO will belong to someone someday, sooner or later. It's not me anyway, so why bother thinking about him? Thinking about it only brings more sorrow. Don't care, don't discuss, don't get involved. Not even look. I've isolated myself. This is the distance I keep from him. No expectations, hence no disappointments. However, Marvin has never let me down or broken my heart. I scratched my neck, my face flushing red. Seriously, what decent person casually scrolls through social media posts? A ringing phone interrupted my blushing heartbeat. It's my mom. Acheen, come back right away. Your brother's in the hospital. The joy I'd just begun to feel was instantly washed away. That same day, I handed off all my work to my assistant, approved my own leave, and boarded the train home. My home is in the countryside. My brother's kidneys are failing. They were damaged by injections when he was young. He can't do heavy labor and has to pay a modest but not insignificant medical bill every month. It's truly a difficult situation. Back then, I almost couldn't afford to go to college. If I hadn't insisted, my family would have married me off at 18. Thankfully, I gritted my teeth, juggling student loans and scholarships while working day and night, finally scraping together a diploma and landing a job in the city, a genuine reversal of fate. But I can already see the glass ceiling with my own eyes. Can't afford a home, can't afford a car, can't afford marriage, can't even afford to keep a dog. My destination is merely someone else's starting point. This is my true portrayal. After shaking along for 7 or 8 hours to reach the county town, I spent a night at the guest house and took a minibus back to the village early the next morning. My family is considered relatively well off in the village. A few years ago, I gave them 300,000 yuan, and the old couple built a 3-story Western-style house with their own hands. That's right, my family's house was built by my parents with their bare hands. When I entered, my mom was catching chickens in the yard. This scene didn't seem at all like my brother was in the ICU. Seeing me, my mother calmly said, "You're back. Where's my brother?" Same as always, sitting upstairs. I was furious. "Then why did you call me back?" My mother wiped her hands on her apron. "We've arranged a match for you." I turned to leave in a huff, but my mom grabbed me. "Now that you're here, I rode the overnight train. You're almost 30. Mom always knew how to twist the knife. Being single forever isn't the answer. This match I found for you is perfect. You'll love her. Oh, give me a break." My mother patted her chest proudly. "My daughter is famously outstanding. I wouldn't pair you with some second-rate match. The young man I found for you just returned from the city. He's exceptionally fit and quite handsome." I didn't believe her claim about him being handsome, but by then the whole village had gathered to gawk at me, so I couldn't leave. Recently I've been too embarrassed to go back to the office. So I took my annual leave. Since it didn't matter where I stayed, I just settled in the village. When I woke up the next morning, there was a man sitting in my courtyard. He was over 6 feet tall, lanky with bleached white hair and a single black earring, even more stylish than me. Damn it, I cursed inwardly. There's actually someone like this in the village. My mom sat across from him scooping rice. "Why don't you clean yourself up a bit, coming out looking so scruffy?" The man turned his head around, with long, slender eyes and a straight nose. His delicate features carried an air of languid ease that spoke of never having known want. As he looked me up and down, I stood there in my pajamas, toothbrush dangling from my mouth, slippers flopping on my feet. I had thought there wasn't a single person in this village who could catch my attention. Never expected my mom to actually find such a handsome guy. The handsome guy and I exchanged names. And he invited me for a walk in the fields. As I was leaving, my mother grabbed me. "Ask him for a dowry of 300,000, no less." I sneered and shook off her hand. "Just wait, I'll reject him the moment we step out." After graduating, the handsome guy worked at a big tech company for a few years, nearly dying from overwork, then came to our village to start his own business. He leased a huge plot of land to set up a farm. With his striking good looks and videos showcasing rural themes in an aesthetically pleasing manner, he's been dubbed the male version of Lee Zeki. He reached out to shake my hand. "My name is Luther. You really know how to ride the coattails of fame." Luther took me on a tour of his fields and asked if I'd be interested in coming back to work with him. The village was full of either the elderly or children. Having heard about my glittering resume, he had long set his sights on me. Wanting to recruit this local talent to start a business together, my mother misunderstood it as a chance to receive a bride price. Money isn't an issue. The work is better than being stuck in a cubicle in the city, much more freedom. Luther is a big-time streamer with no shortage of money. Nowadays, everything is tough except for the thriving internet and self-media industry. As I gazed at the lush green wilderness before me, Marvin's face flashed through my mind. The solemn him, the elegant him, the sarcastic him. There was also him, gazing at me intently with those gentle eyes and brows. The countryside had everything good: emerald mountains, clear waters, birds singing and flowers blooming. The city had high prices, expensive housing, crowded subways every day, and endless hours in cubicles. But he was in the city. He's in the city. My job is actually pretty good. I lowered my head and dragged my foot across the yellow earth. The boss is my senior brother, a really outstanding guy. So outstanding that you'd work 24/7 for him. Luther looked at me with piercing clarity. "Time to get to work." I waved him off. "Since I'm already here and the corn is ripe, might as well go harvest it." I was harvesting corn in the field when my phone rang. It was my mother. I felt annoyed at the sight and hung up. She persisted relentlessly. When she called for the 3rd time, I finally answered. "Hello." 4th ring. To express my strong displeasure. "Your husband is here." My mother's voice carried a hint of awe and trembling. "Where are you and Luther? Hurry up and hide." Why didn't you tell me you're married? Here I was trying to arrange a marriage for you, and look how it turned out." My mom kept nagging, and I don't think much of this son-in-law either. His temper is terrible. My heart skipped a beat. "What did you say to him?" "I told him you went on a blind date with Luther, and he stormed out in a flash." "Looks like Luther's going to beat you up." The phone slipped from my hand. I could already see Marvin charging through the lush green field ridges in his black suit. Without thinking, I crouched down in the cornfield. "Come out." I retreated deeper into hiding. "You've got a knife in your hand." Only when he reminded me did I cautiously peek out with one eye from behind the corn leaves. "So scared." Marvin sneered. "So you really got involved with some male streamer and planned to quit?" "No. I won't approve it, so give up. He pulled me out from the green foliage. His hand was very warm. I instinctively struggled, but couldn't break free. Stop struggling, it's useless. He stared at me intently. The scorching sun made one's nose sting. He dragged me closer. Edith, I've been good to you. I don't believe you haven't noticed. Yes, you are, a very good boss. I choked out. I'm not your boss. His eyes turned red. 7 years, 2,847 days. 3 meals a day through 4 seasons, you can't call me that. 2,847 days. So it's been that long already. He cupped my face, gently wiping away my tears. All these years. Dare you say there wasn't a single second when you didn't think of me? I opened my mouth. Memories long dead suddenly came alive. In the library, I sat beside him gathering materials. The sound of sleeves brushing against each other. At the celebratory feast. He mixed a bowl of hot pot dipping sauce and placed it before me. The first time he reported to the new company, he wore a suit, sunlight from the blinds falling between his brows. It was all from a very, very long time ago. We were all still young then. He was the precious son of a wealthy family. And besides my student loans, I have nothing. Haven't I thought about it? It's just that, senior, I don't dare to think about it. You're wonderful. I sobbed uncontrollably. I don't deserve you, Marvin. Even his name seems to shine brilliantly, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, excelling in every aspect. That year when he gave his presentation in English on stage, he spoke so fluently I couldn't even understand him. I struggled desperately to reach his city. Yet I'd never even glimpsed his world. That was the year Marvin took over the company and attended entrepreneur summits everywhere. I worried about rent, my brother's medical bills, and whether my 1688 clothes would look presentable enough when accompanying him to the summit tomorrow. I have no time to think of love, nor the energy to think of him. He is so close at hand, yet beautiful like a dream beyond my reach. A mere breeze would wake me from it. 7 years ago you thought this way. And you still do now. After all these years I've raised you, haven't you grown at all? I won't listen. Marvin gritted his teeth as he glared at me. Even if there's an insurmountable gap between us, I've already taken 99 steps toward you all by myself. 7 years. I endured it all. What about you? Could you take just one step toward me, even a tiny one? Edith, you're not a coward. Why are you so stingy only with me? The wind swept across the wilderness, leaving heaven and earth in silence. For a moment, my mind went completely blank. Screw it, I thought. My once arrogant Marvin was actually crying. 2 figures merged into one. I was the one who threw myself into his arms. Marvin insisted on helping me harvest corn just to prove he was no different from me. Then he cut his hand. I burst out laughing. It turns out he wasn't omnipotent either. Still laughing. Are you? He leaned in, presenting his hands to me with unshakable confidence. Such a minor injury. By the time we got to the hospital, it would have already scabbed over. Gotta brag. Gotta coax. You're quite fond of acting spoiled. I chuckled. Marvin shot me a glare, his eyes actually carrying a hint of petulant resentment. Then he relentlessly pressed closer, clinging to me with sticky affection. The sun blazed mercilessly, leaving me drenched in sweat. He kept nuzzling against me. Suddenly I realized all those distances I'd been so concerned about dissolved into nothingness within this intimacy. How did you find me? I asked, holding his hand as we walked along the country road of my hometown. You didn't go to work, didn't reply on iMessage. I thought you'd quit in anger. There was a faint trace of melancholy between his brows. He said I might seem casual, but actually had quite high standards for myself. Otherwise, she wouldn't have refused to have anything to do with him all these years. Gazelle ruined my reputation, afraid I'd never come back after this. That's a bit extreme. I did want to escape for a while, but I could never stay away permanently. After all, he's there. I took a train ride that lasted over 10 hours, only to be greeted with quite a surprise here. His phoenix eyes slanted sharply toward me. Hey, these days, blind dates are all just going through the motions. My mom tricked me into coming. The other party didn't even have the intention. Then do you? Marvin held on to me tightly. No, I interlaced my fingers firmly with his. The moment I saw you, I never thought of anyone else. I admit I'm weak and timid. If he hadn't come to me, I probably would have carried this faint longing to my grave. It's been so long that even my own memories have grown hazy. I only wish to remain forever drunk in this dream that's within reach. Drifting through life in a daze, only Marvin, someone so radiant, would recklessly tear open that layer of window paper. Don't just focus on criticizing me. What nonsense did you tell my mom that scared her so much? Nothing. Marvin stubbornly turned his face away. I just walked in and called out Mom. That same night, I left with Marvin, because my mom didn't like Marvin. She preferred Luther, thinking Marvin had a bad temper. But when I told her Marvin was my boss, she suddenly saw him in a better light. She demanded he buy my brother an apartment in the county town before she'd agree to our marriage. I was shaking with anger. Marvin held me back. Mom, I can't decide this. Sitting on our worn-out sofa, he adopted his usual negotiation posture, tapping the table with his long fingers. Edith manages our finances. You'll have to discuss this with her. My mother looked at me with newfound awe, half convinced and half doubting, as I left. I let out a long sigh of relief. I love my hometown, but I can never return. Most people are like this, they have family, but not much love. My family didn't favor boys over girls to the point of killing me, but I knew they didn't love me much. I was born in poverty, growing up haphazardly like wild grass in the field. When the wind blew, somehow I just flourished. Truth is, no one ever looked after me, no one ever sheltered me from the wind and rain, except for. I looked at the hand clasped with mine, slender yet strong, radiating a comforting warmth. It's all right. Marvin interlocked his fingers with mine, a diamond ring now adorning his ring finger. From now on, I'll be your family. So confident. It's been 7 years. It's about time you stopped rejecting me. He patted the steering wheel. See, I even drove a Porsche here. Is that enough to prove you wrong? I held up my mom's latest WeChat message. They don't recognize a Porsche. They're asking what car you drive and whether you're a scammer. After returning, I took a week off. Only when the company descended into complete chaos, with everyone crying and begging for my return on iMessage, did I leisurely stroll back into the office. Facts prove that my Edith promotion and raise were earned by merit. Whenever people talk about the secretary profession, they always associate it with some shady undertones and look down on it. In reality, I make 50% of the company's decisions. The same goes for other female assistants in senior management. Whenever a leader is too busy or wants to slack off, secretaries and assistants become the de facto decision makers. After 7 years of handling office affairs, even if I were a pig, I'd still be someone of importance. Marvin, as for the things Marvin has accomplished, apart from connections, where he's a second-generation elite while I'm from humble beginnings, making it impossible for me to catch up in other aspects, I, Edith, am not inferior. Returning meant diving headfirst into overtime work without pause. The company's cash flow is indeed facing some issues, because Marvin wanted to launch a new product line and has been burning through money. Don't let his CEO swagger fool you. Our company actually specializes in snack foods, the kind of national-level snacks you'll find on shelves in convenience stores across the country, no matter where you go. Zero technical content, countless pirated copies, yet it's always a bestseller. Marvin wasn't one to settle for the status quo. He wanted to cater to high-end consumers. The company's cash flow was originally sustainable, but the problem arose when Gazelle started causing trouble for love, leading several shareholders to withdraw. Marvin tried to seize their equity, and suddenly, the cash flow became tight. I think we can totally leverage this situation. That day, as everyone was scratching their heads in the conference room about where to get money, I shared my idea with them. Isn't Gazelle particularly wealthy and also especially fond of our Mr. Marvin? You want to sell me to her? Marvin was on high alert, his muscles tensed up like a beast about to be abandoned. No, I wouldn't dare. I just think we could provoke her a little. She might just give us a big surprise. Marvin narrowed his eyes. That night, I posted a photo on my social media of me holding hands with Marvin. In the photo, we were both wearing engagement rings. As expected, the next day Marvin was trending on social media for all the wrong reasons. Impressive, truly impressive. Max was in the conference room, coordinating black PR with 100,000 marketing accounts. Even negative publicity is still publicity. With traffic and buzz, you can seize the moment to promote products. Marvin is absolutely killer at product development. All the word of marketing groundwork is laid, from flavor to packaging, just waiting for that explosive tipping point. Gazelle got him trending #1 on Twitter for 3 straight days, stirring the pot non-stop. We seized the traffic wave to send our new product to every influencer and self-media account. Then the conversation took a wild turn, from Marvin is a scumbag of epic proportions to holy hell. The family's new drink tastes so bizarre it's like glimpsing the underworld. With this level of buzz, we don't even need to go out and socialize. Investors will be crawling to our doorstep begging to fund us. And that settled the matter. Thank you, Gazelle. You're up for promotion this time, Marvin reminded Max. If you handle the most important matter properly. Max couldn't believe it. Mr. Marvin, is there something I haven't handled? Marvin glanced at me with a smile. Delete all the files on Secretary Edith. With things blowing up this big, I couldn't avoid being exposed by Gazelle either. As soon as she hangs up on me, Marvin spends money on PR. As soon as she hangs up on me, Marvin spends money on PR. His attitude is very firm. You can curse me all you want. I don't care, but you can't curse my wife. Just like he didn't take me to meet his parents either. There's nothing worth seeing. They never raised you, so you have no obligation to support them. Attending their funeral and paying your respects at the memorial service is more than enough, no need to mind their opinions. Marvin's parents didn't lift a finger throughout the entire incident. Every time he went home, he'd come out fuming. They won't accept me anytime soon. Are you that confident I'll marry you? We haven't even dated yet. I teased him. Let's skip the dating. 7 years, I'm almost 30. Can't wait any longer, Marvin said, holding my hand and nuzzling it against his cheek affectionately, vaguely. He was still that boy from my youthful days, buried deep in my heart. By the way, how far along are you with the wedding preparations? The design bidding process is already completed. Let me take a look. Here, this document. Secretary Edith, you won't need to follow up on this project anymore. Our wedding, 30 million, not a penny less. I'm afraid you try to skimp and make it 20. Is that really how you see me in your heart? Besides, since when does the bride handle the wedding arrangements? Leave the wedding to me. He kissed my lips, and I'll leave myself to you. The end. Extra. Marvin's perspective times youth. Marvin met Edith during his junior year. She was brought by his roommate and shoved into his project. Marvin had seen many beauties before, so he frowned the moment he laid eyes on her. He disliked women who climbed the social ladder by relying on their beauty, wielding their looks like weapons and treating men as fools. I don't keep idle people around, senior. I can do anything, Edith interjected eagerly. Marvin's brows furrowed even deeper, but Edith looked at him with a direct, fervent gaze, clear yet also fearful. For a moment, he couldn't tell whether she was inviting intimacy or discussing serious matters. In that brief moment of hesitation, Edith was thrust into his life. He soon learned that appearances can be deceiving. Edith was beautiful, but highly capable, exceptionally capable. During their survey project, she could distribute flyers under the scorching sun all afternoon, then analyze all the data using SPSS. She always finishes organizing the meeting minutes right after each team discussion. Once, he set up materials for research in the library's meeting room. The next day when entering, Edith was still in the same spot as yesterday, wearing the same clothes, holding her laptop. She was fast asleep. Your junior can't even speak English well. It took her 2 tries to pass the CET 6. The roommate glared at him. And you're making her slog through all these English materials. Marvin walked over to her side, eyeing the thick stack of printed papers. Every page was filled with newly looked up vocabulary, but she'd finished it all in the end. Later, people kept trying to push others into his group, including professors from the institute. That Edith in your group isn't a top student. Nor is she someone you know well. It wouldn't hurt to replace her. Marvin didn't even bother to lift his eyelids. She's my team member. There's a building in the institute donated by his family. No one dared to touch his people once he spoke. On the day the project won the award, Edith came to find him on her bicycle. He was being cornered at the cafeteria entrance. It was the campus belle confessing her feelings to him. He wasn't one to beat around the bush. But that day he patiently listened to the school beauty pour out her sweet nothings for a long time, simply because Edith had invited him, saying she'd treat him to dinner here. Marvin felt he was being somewhat ridiculous. He just wanted to know what she would say when she saw it. She arrived quickly. Punctuality was one of her virtues. Riding close and braking with her feet, she stared wide-eyed at the scene with blank incomprehension, and then, standing behind the crowd, she eagerly watched the commotion unfold. She even joined in the teasing with the onlookers. Marvin felt a surge of irritation in his heart, leaving the campus belle behind as he walked toward her grinning face. You're treating me to dinner? Yep, right here. Edith grew wary. Then where else? I'll pick the restaurant. He was young master. No one dared to invite him to eat in the cafeteria. Edith instantly wilted, let out an "oh," and said quite naturally, then come on up, Marvin. That day, Marvin sat on the back seat of the 28-inch bicycle, holding onto Edith's waist as they rode through the entire school. Marvin took Edith to his favorite hot pot restaurant. Edith took her seat, unsure where to place her hands and feet. The two of them shared a meal alone. At first, she was very reserved. Later, she ate a lot. Why are you treating me to a meal? He asked, feigning nonchalance. Oh, thank you, senior. She swallowed the small mushroom in her mouth and thanked him sincerely. He glanced at her, hot soup and steaming dishes. Her pale lips turned a rosy red, looking quite biteable. I won the national scholarship. Amidst the mist rising from the hot pot, her eyes softened. Let me treat you, senior. That's what they say. When she saw the bill, she nearly fainted, pale-faced and trembling all over. She eventually wilted and accepted her fate. Marvin pulled out his black card. His spending habits were beyond what ordinary classmates could bear. I said it's my treat. Edith earnestly opened her wallet, forcefully pushing the money toward him. This feeling was peculiar. Someone was competing with him to pay the bill, and she was using a pink denim wallet printed with little lambs. Women who approached him usually carried LV or Chanel. Unlike her, she's petite and adorable. On the way back, she walked beside him, pushing the 28-inch bicycle. "You treated me to dinner, don't you have anything else to say?" he blurted out, almost as if possessed. She froze for a moment, then, amid the swirling river breeze, shyly lowered her eyes. "I do." His heart skipped a beat. He even held his breath. "Senior, if there are projects like this in the future, could you take me along again?" she said, fidgeting with embarrassment. Marvin pressed his lips together. Suddenly, she realized she had never worn makeup when coming to see him that night. He went racing at the track for the first time in ages. Looking back, that was the day he gradually started becoming more and more irritable. He hadn't been like that at all before. After the project ended, they had no further interactions, but Marvin learned to eat in the cafeteria. He had never eaten in this goddamn cafeteria before. "Hey, senior," holding his food tray, he heard the voice he'd been waiting for. "My junior is truly a remarkable person." When he couldn't see her, he would always wonder where she was and what she was doing, but having met, I felt it would have been better not to. What kind of girl would say, "Hey, senior"? So vulgar. With a long stride, he sat down in front of her. The moment I sat down, I froze. "What are you doing?" Edith also froze. "Eating. What are you eating?" "Food. It's really just rice, a bowl of rice, a bottle of chili sauce, and free vegetable soup, with the greens looking all lonely." "Are you that poor?" Marvin was shocked. "Yeah." Edith didn't try to hide it either. He had never realized people could be this poor. Edith never dressed up, but she always wore clean, proper clothes. He simply thought she was stingy. "But I eat very well in the evenings," Edith reassured him. "We kitchen staff get plenty to eat." "What is it?" "The kitchen." Marvin sat again that night in the dingy diner he would absolutely never visit, watching Edith bustle about happily, wearing an apron as she served dishes and handled payments. "My family's tomato scrambled egg with fatty beef rice is especially delicious." Edith ordered several signature dishes for him. When no one was looking, she whispered to him, "I added an extra egg for you, Tilda." She leaned in very close when she said this. And so Marvin developed a liking for tomato scrambled egg with fatty beef rice from that day onward. "I've grown so fond of this place that I come here every day to order a portion." Edith always gives him a little extra. This way he can treat Edith to some drinks and snacks. No charity allowed, but mutual hospitality is perfectly fine. "You're about to graduate. Which young lady has caught your eye?" his father asked. "No, what kind do you like?" Marvin gazed out the window, thinking that his wife would probably make him tomato scrambled eggs with fatty beef rice, loaded with ingredients. On Valentine's Day, Marvin passed by the girls' dormitory, caught my roommate giving Edith roses. He froze. It never occurred to him that someone else might like her too. She never wore makeup and dressed like a boy, but she was really pretty. He saw the two chatting in the snow for a while, Edith her little mouth opening and closing, looking serious the entire time. Then she took the bouquet of roses. The roommate left immediately, and she went upstairs. That day in class, he didn't absorb a single word. During lunch, he casually asked her, "Old Lynn sent you flowers. Ah, how was it?" His heart pounded again. "It's pretty good. Yes, or no. What does pretty good mean?" His gaze carried a hint of intimidation, and she quickly explained, "Those flowers, I've been taking good care of them with sugar water." His gaze turned to confusion, and she whispered to him, "Roses are quite expensive now. I'm thinking of selling some for money. Do you know anyone who might be interested?" "Marvin, Sr., do you have any?" Edith looked at him seriously. "I said I do." His Adam's apple bobbed as his dark eyes fixed on her. "Are you planning to sell to me?" Edith was momentarily stunned. "I definitely wouldn't charge you," she said solemnly. Marvin said he wanted them. Edith handed him the bouquet. "Don't take them back to the dorm." Although I asked Senior Lynn if I could dispose of them as I pleased, and he said once they're gifted to me they're mine, it still wouldn't be good if he found out they were being passed on to someone else. Marvin readily agreed. Then turned around and took the flowers back to the dormitory. Old Lynn felt something was off. "These flowers look familiar. From my girlfriend." Marvin cast him a lazy sidelong glance. He thought he was being quite wicked himself. But Old Lynn never made a move on Edith afterward. A bad point is just a bad point. College always passes in a hurry. She worked part-time, studied, and saved money every day. He watched her. Time passed in the blink of an eye. One day, as he walked past her dormitory, he saw her crying her heart out on the lawn. Upon asking her roommate, he learned that someone had taken her scholarship spot. He made a trip to the school administration office. At night she came alive again, proudly telling him, "I've got money now, 5,000. Hey Tilda, I'm rich." Marvin thought this wouldn't do. Can't let her go out, she'll get bullied. But he was about to graduate. Besides money, is there anything else you like? There was a beast in his heart, raging to break free. Yes. Edith was taken aback, as if to say, what kind of question is this? Then have you ever thought? He looked at her. Edith stopped making a fuss. She chuckled softly. Senior, when we poor people want something, we just don't. Marvin felt the beast in his heart freeze instantly. It wasn't that he'd never considered giving up. I simply couldn't imagine spending the rest of my life without her. He stopped arguing with his family and returned home after graduation to take over the family business. In the first year, he went back to recruit at his alma mater. He offered the highest salary in the entire venue. Hundreds of people signed up. Round after round of written tests and interviews filtered them down until only she remained. When she first knocked on the CEO's office door in full uniform with her ID badge, she exclaimed in delight, "It's you, Senior, it's me, of course it's me." Marvin resigned himself to the thought. He could wait for her to blossom from barrenness to abundance. "Let's go. I'll treat you to lunch. What would you like to eat?" The end.